He's called me venomous.
We will fight back to your attempt to bring Trumpism to New York City.
He's called me disgraceful.
Of the fact that they stole the Supreme Court seat. An illegitimate president and an illegitimate member of the United States Supreme Court.
He's called me radical.
Listen, yes. We know he's crazy. Yes. We know he doesn't have a sound mind. Yes. We know he's out of control. Yes. We know he's losing it. Yes. We know his days are numbered and we will come together.
He's called me a racist.
We've got to stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Thank you.
It's 400.
So in case you haven't heard, there's a whole lot to talk about today, starting with this nutbag in New York City. You see, today, despite everything that's been going on, despite win after win, despite the roller coaster that Trump is on, there's a few people up in, New York and Georgia who are ready to fall on the sword. I'm not really sure what's motivating them or who's motivating them or what they're being told to do, by whom, how much they're being paid. I don't know all this. But for some reason, these three people, these three black people, Letitia James, Fani Willis, and Alvin Bragg, seem hell-bent on destroying every shred of their career in order to try and get Trump. Still getting over that cold, but I just want you to know that. This is really, really crazy, absolutely insane, that they have thrown themselves in the path of this oncoming train, and they don't seem to care. They think, it'll be okay. Good luck with that. Check this out.
$70 million civil fraud judgment against President-elect Donald Trump. Joining us now with more is MSNBC's Lisa Rubin. Lisa, good morning. What does this mean?
Good morning, Jose. President Trump's lawyers are trying to get the New York Attorney General to set aside that case. But as they said in their letter today, they're refusing to do so because that case, which was a civil litigation, is primarily and almost exclusively about his pre-presidential conduct and running the Trump Organization. And as they say in their letter, there are over a dozen other defendants who are part of that $450 million plus civil fraud judgment. I want to point out also that this is part of their strategy to sort of extend the presidential immunity argument from the opinion over the weekend. You can see them do that with the New York DA's office as well. That office's brief in response to a motion to dismiss the New York hush money case, where there is also a verdict, is expected later today. We should expect to see them also fight back against the idea that the judgment has to be thrown out merely because Trump is going to be president again.
I don't know who's motivating these people to do this, but it seems as though they're using these three stooges, and that's basically what they are, to do some dirty work. And like you saw in my lower third there, they just don't learn. They're not learning anything from what happened on November 5th. They are still moving forward as if there's some fight they need to keep going. I find it, in my mind, incredulous, knowing full well that Kash Patel is coming in and Pam Bondi's coming in, and you're willing to stand up in front of this locomotive coming at you, this Trump, this MAGA locomotive. You want to stand up and you think you're going to be woman or man enough to stop this? You got another thing coming.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with civil litigation. This has to do with selective prosecution, and we will not tolerate it anymore. That is something I've been saying for 3.5 years, and now I am saying it as a person that is going to be counselor of the president. I'm not tolerating it. I will not tolerate it. The American people did not want to tolerate it. 77 million people said this is garbage, and I will make sure it never happens to anyone, no matter what your political affiliation is. Miss James, those games are now over.
So here's what was posted today. Breaking. New York Attorney General Letitia James will ignore Trump's presidential immunity and continue her effort to make him pay a $500 million civil fraud judgment. The ordinary burdens of civil litigation do not impede the president's official duties in any way that violates the U.S. Constitution. The New York Appeals Court spanked her prosecutors during the oral argument so bad that at the end they weren't trying to defend the verdict, but were trying to avoid sanctions on them. That judgment will be overturned. Everybody, and I'm not a lawyer, but all the legal scholars out there have already stated this has no chance. Now, to refresh your mind and your memory to understand which case this is the one with the old crinkly judge who said that Mar-a-Lago was only worth $18 million, and therefore Trump somehow defrauded the banks who gave him loans that he paid back, that they continue to do business. This was the one where there's no victims. You know, if I owe you money and I pay you back and you continue to loan me money to buy more property, pretty much that's probably indicative of the fact that you didn't feel like you've been ripped off or defrauded. But no, Letitia James said, you're too stupid to know you've been defrauded. This guy put up this property as collateral, you know, and he told you it was worth like $400 or $500 million, but it's only worth 18, and so you were defrauded. And she just kept going, and she kept going, and she kept going, and she got her, judgment. Now, this is a civil case, not criminal. And yes, it is a state case, not federal. So there's nothing to think of in terms of a pardon coming up here. There is no pardon. This is a civil case in New York State. But it has no merit and will obviously be overturned on appeal. And she and her cohorts are probably going to be sanctioned. So you have to ask yourself, why would you do that? Why now, in December, a month before he's about to take office? Why would you put yourself in this position to be completely embarrassed? I don't have the answer. Maybe you guys have the answer. I don't have the answer. Perhaps the only thing she's doing is what she's told. Somebody has probably said to her, get out there, do this, and keep going. It's going to be amazing because she's going to find herself in a position where she's going to have to answer to Trump and probably Kash Patel and probably Pam Bondi. You see, we understand from looking that Letitia James has a worth, based on different sources, of about $20 million. It's not going to take an amazing prosecutor or prosecutorial team to start digging and finding out how in the hell did someone who is an attorney general who makes, I don't know, maybe 150, 200, amass a fortune of 15 to 20 million in such a short period of time. Maybe she's trying to do some sort of cloak and dagger. Maybe she's trying to avoid that, and so that when they do come after her, she can say, oh, it was malicious prosecution. They're mad because I was going after Trump. Either way, it doesn't make any sense. So let me continue with the it doesn't make any sense stuff as we move on to the next one. The next one here is Fulton County with Fani Willis. Fani is being bent over the arm of a chair, and her bare fanny has been spanked over and over and over. And Fani won't stop. She keeps ignoring the court orders. Why? Why? 2 black women, 1 black man. We're going to get to the black man in a second. But now here's your second person, Fani Willis. Big trouble. Big trouble. Fani Willis, at this point, I don't know how she keeps her license. Breaking news. Fulton County Superior Court has issued a default judgment against District Attorney Fani Willis for refusing to turn over records that could document her collusion with the January 6th committee and special counsel Jack Smith. So just to refresh your memory on this one, people found out there was some contact between the White House with her lover boy. He went up there a few times. They paid him all kinds of millions of dollars. And then there were some conversations between, Jack Smith and her. And one had nothing to do with the other. Why would she and her paramour be visiting the White House? For what reason would they have to be meeting and talking with Jack Smith? Their cases are unrelated. And people started digging. So the Superior Court said, hey, listen, we need some documentation. I need to see your notes. This is really, really important. The court order states, quote, by finding the defendant in default because she didn't follow the order, the court has effectively declared that she violated the ORA Open Records Act. The court further orders the defendant to conduct a, quote, thorough search of her records for responsive materials within 5 days of this order's entry. So by basically next Monday, she got to cough it up. Let's continue. Within the same 5-day period, the defendant is also ordered to provide the plaintiff, Trump's people, with copies of all responsive records that are not legally exempt or accepted from disclosure. If the defendant must or chooses to withhold any portion of a requested record, she is instructed to adhere to the procedures outlined in the ORA. Again, ORA, just for you guys to go back, is the Open Records Act. So what is happening now is the court said, hey, okay, we gave you a shot. We told you we want these documents. She defied the subpoena. Nope, not going to give them to you. Here's a Heisman. Hey, Jim Jordan wants them. Nope, you can't have them either. You realize you're a local state prosecutor, attorney in Georgia, and you've got the Superior Court and you've got Congress going, you need to show us what you have. Show us your cards. Fani don't want to do it. Fani thinks she's Fani. You ain't telling me what to do. Oh, okay. However, the Fulton County DA claims that such records don't exist, potentially putting her at legal risk of perjury and obstruction of justice. All right, now this is where it starts getting good. What do you mean the records don't exist? They used to. So if they used to exist, how do they no longer exist? You're going to have to bridge this for us, Fani. How did they used to? And now how do they not? Something happened here. The dog eat it? You just lost them? So you're that incompetent. You want the court to believe that you, as a Fulton County District Attorney, can't figure out what happened to these documents? Is that what you're really saying? Think hard about what you're saying. Because now they got her in a trap. They got her in a big, giant bear trap, and it's closing hard. Because at this point, your answer is you're incompetent or you're lying. There's no middle ground. And if you're incompetent, then yeah, the whole case goes away. And if you're lying, the case goes away and you get new handcuffs. The new jewelry will be yours. Let's finish this up. The court makes it clear that it has substantive reason to believe Willis is withholding the records. Defendant, and this is a quote from the order that you're seeing here, the defendant is further ordered to provide an explanation why such correspondence does not exist if she doesn't have it, or why it is being withheld. However, this is the catch-22, if Willis does turn over those records, it could provide proof of a criminal conspiracy. So you're Fani Willis right now, and you're looking at the Trump train too, just like Letitia, and you're sitting behind the wheel of a Yugo, maybe even just a golf cart, and this train is coming at you. And the Superior Court of the state where you are licensed has said, give up the goods right now. And if you don't have the goods, you need to let us know why. And it better be a good reason. Think before you talk, Fani. The next words that come out of your mouth are going to determine your life path. That's what they're telling her in no uncertain terms. Defendant is ordered to provide an explanation why such correspondence does not exist. Is that what she says in the defendant's records, or why it is being withheld? And if she does turn over the records, it could provide proof of a criminal conspiracy. So you're looking at, okay, if I do this, they're going to tell me or may charge me with criminal conspiracy. If I do this, they may say I'm incompetent and just fire me. Or maybe charge me with perjury. Oh, I feel like I'm on Price is Right here. Or maybe on, Wheel of Fortune. Can I buy a letter? Or maybe that other show. Can I call someone for a lifeline? No. No, you're standing in front of this train called the Trump train. And right now, it's coming at you full speed. You deserve everything that you're about to get. So the only question I'm posing to you, the audience here, you guys, fanfare audience, is why would these two women put themselves in the path of this train? You're being threatened. Letitia hasn't been threatened with any criminal stuff yet. She's just looked at as you're a moron. You're just going to implode your career. Fani, on the other hand, you're looking at criminal stuff happening. How bad must it be? What must be in this document dump? Which I'm pretty sure some other people have as well. A good attorney never asks you the question without knowing the answer in advance. So you have to wonder, who's sitting on some documents just waiting to see which way she moves? You go over to door number 1 and say you can't find them. Then you're just going to probably lose your job and get perjury because we got them already. We've already seen them. Just to let you guys know, if you do anything electronic, email, whatever, it's somewhere. You can hit delete, you can hit shred, it's somewhere. Someone has a copy or the ability to pull up this document. She's too stupid to realize this. Or maybe that's why she hasn't done it, because she does know somebody has a copy. But in any event, the only question that remains is, why are the two of these women staring this down and are willing to be run the F over? What is being held over their heads? I mean, both of them, they're not older people. I mean, you can see Fani Willis, she's not an old woman. So something in their past, something that they've been bribed with, something that they've been threatened, is telling them, don't turn over these documents. Nope. And it's not about them, probably. You got any family, Fani? Because maybe you got some family that might take the dirt nap. So you're playing with some people that maybe you shouldn't have got into the sandbox with. These are people who are ready to push you in front of the train. They're looking at the tracks and going, here you go, Fani. You're on your own, girl. Don't even think. Don't even think about blabbing. Oh, no. Because those deep state people who you got in bed with, sorry. As Chuck Schumer said, deep state has 7 ways from Sunday taking you out. And you're not Trump. So, all y'all can pray for Fani because she gonna need some prayers. And Letitia, you're about to get there too. Then you get to Alvin Bragg, Curly of the bunch here, of the Three Stooges. Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is still suggesting that the court may want to simply extend, quote, temporary accommodations during Trump's term of office. It would leave Trump a type of legal suspended animation for 4 years. From today's filing, at most, the defendant should receive temporary accommodations during his presidency to prevent this criminal case from meaningfully interfering with his official decision-making. Okay, so understand what he's saying here. All right, so we know that we can't do anything right now because he's president, right? So what we want to do is hold these cases for the next 4 years, and then when he's out of office at 82, then we'll go get him. I've heard some stupid people before, but this takes the case. So you want the American people, you want the world to think you're just going to pump the brakes and pause this entire prosecution of this, hush money case. This is the other case now. This is the case with Stormy and Michael Cohen and Judge Merchan, and, it's hard to keep up with them. But Curly Bragg of the Three Stooges decides he don't want to stop either. And every legal mind is like, what in the hell are you thinking? And what I find most interesting on here, December 10th, for those of you who are watching on the replay, it's Tuesday, December 10th. All this happened today. Today. Letitia James announces today, I'm still going to go after Trump. Fani Willis, the court says, you need to turn over these documents about Trump and whatever you were discussing. And then Alvin Bragg files today, we're just going to hold off until he's out of presidency. Then we'll throw his ass in jail. And I just showed you Jonathan Turley. You got people going, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why these Three Stooges? And I do want to point out these three black stooges. I'm not being racial. I'm pointing out that somebody picked these inefficient stool pigeons and stuck them in a position right now where they can't extricate themselves for some reason. They took advantage of these three people, whether it was monetarily, whether it was a threat, but you can see the incompetence is run amok. Just, was it yesterday? The whole Daniel Penny case, which Alvin Bragg was the one prosecuting, got destroyed. This guy is Curly from the Three Stooges. And the other two are Larry and Moe. And it just makes absolutely no sense. So Barry, how are you going to tie this together? I'm not. I'm bringing this to you as the news of the day because the hits just keep coming for the left. And as I put on the lower third of my screen, somebody still, over a month later, they have found no way to move forward. Everything they're doing is relying on the stuff that already hasn't worked. Letitia James, it didn't work, honey. Nothing happened. Alvin Bragg, it didn't work. He still got elected. Fani Willis, sorry, you're the only one looking at handcuffs. They're living in the past. They have no leadership. And Trump's, in 20 days, 30 days, he's going to be in office. Do you really think, Alvin Bragg, that the President of the United States on January 21st is going to pay any attention to what you and Judge Merchan are up to? Or do you think what he'll probably do is sick the dogs on you? I mean, I understand people have said, he doesn't want to, he's not going to go after his political opponents. Oh, no, this one's different. This is, you want to fight? You want to fight? You got one.